reactionary. He's the kind of guy where he won't take too many risks. He only forces out engagements if he's got, you know, if he's at like a potential like advantage, like 60 or 70% minimum. If it's not in his favor, he won't do anything at all in the slightest unless time's running out. He's got a couple of minutes, needs to try and get a few frags. But it's very, very rare on that occasion. You know, if he does take a risk, then his opponents will be like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? Is this the same base we're playing? But even throughout stage 2, we did notice that he has sped up his game a lot in terms of pace. Still quite defensive sometimes, but it depends on the circumstances and what he's playing in.
And we are officially live with map number 1. They went right into it. These players are ready to do battle lethal. We're looking at base through his eyes, and off of the spawn, players are going to split the major items with base getting the heavy and maxter hitting that mega. First exchange of first blood is drawn by base with a nicely placed rocket. And that might actually give him just enough to try to take some control. You can see he's controlling that railgun, a strategy that we see very often here. But oh my God, 2 perfect rails. And base opens up the floodgates here with this first frag in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, everything. Weapon selection, the angle, the height advantage. There's nothing more that maxter could have maybe done. It probably could have got away and actually did something else, you know, go for the weapons in his arsenal or just try and trade in any way. But instead, he let him have it, gave him the opportunity, and base took it straight away. And now it's just being cautious on what he wants to do. But maxter being super aggressive here in bases to try and get away if possible. Managed to heal just a little bit, but Max is the one who doesn't have to stack, and base is just waiting to see where Max is going to come from. If he's going to come from rockets or if he's going to hang about on top mid. He's just trying to see exactly what's going on. But, you know, maxter doesn't want to play to base's strengths. He doesn't want to play defensive either. He's trying to force out the occasion, but it's not really working so far, as already base is up 2-0.
Oh man, base is playing incredible right now as he's landing a lot of rails. He's picked up 2 frags, and he's really kind of forcing maxter into the areas of the map that he wants him to be. Now, base is also one of these players here. Oh, nice rail from maxter, and that is why I think base wanted to try to keep that railgun out of maxter's hands. One thing I do want you to notice from base, if you're watching out there, he likes to play on, I don't know what you call that, right? The little fire pit that's right next to that heavy. It's that column that just kind of sticks out. I see him so very often sitting up there. Gives him really solid, nice view of what's going on. You'll see him want to hit those rails, but look at this maxter tying it up, hitting some rails of his own. Not much base can do there, as suddenly we are equalized here in our 2nd minute of the game.
Oh, he's trying to go straight into him. He's popped it, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, maxter is ready. He got the rockets, and now he's going to go for this heavy. But here's base. He managed to do 41 to him in the end. Just going to see exactly where he's going to go. Good rocket. You'll be able to put him and try and take this. He misses that other rail as well, but it hits the second one, which is so important. It can easily clean him up if he wants to. Wanted to use the rail, just be safe. Sadly for him, though, doesn't get that full frag, but he's massively stacked here. He's going to try and pressure on to see if he can get this heavy, but he's looking for the frag still. Finds out where base is, but base hasn't really been given much room to breathe here. And I like what maxter's doing every single time from rockets. He's being very, very patient for when he does spawn around the shotgun area. We've seen a lot of people react quite quickly, but maxter's very patient when he tries to suffocate them on spawn. But he's found out where base is. Good rocket, cleans him up with the LG. Lovely stuff from maxter, increases his lead. We'll be picking up that mega.
And despite the fact that base really started things off, I would say even explosive, maxter keeping his cool, landing his own rails, and then following up with several frags. He makes his way over to that heavy. It's going to be up in about 3 seconds, and he bullies his opponent off of that spot. Should be able to get it. There's a quick rocket jump up to the top. Lands a nice rail cross map, and that will open up doors to head over to that mega and possibly steal it away. Actually gets aggro with the orb. LG does come out, needs that one rail. And it's not going to finish him off, but there he lands 1 and a second for his 5th frag. And this is the maxter who showed up for the Stage 2 finals.
Even behind that pillar, it wasn't even being that predictable, like when he was pixel peeking across. He still managed to get him every time. Oh, that was very risky. He so desperately wanted to try and contest that heavy, but Face was ready and waiting for him there. Manages to recover his stack. Still very equal in terms of that situation, but it was still on the first half of his first map. His base now just patiently waiting to see. He knows he's top mid. Gets a little bit of LG going across, but doesn't go fully up the lift, but he's taking a huge amount of damage. Maxter won't be able to take this, but will he be able to orb onto the Mega? Yes, he does. And now Base is to try and get away if he can. Pops the Berserk just in case something happens, picks up the Heavy. So he does have the stack advantage again, but needs to pick up a rail to try and slow Maxter down when he's on the aggressive.
Yeah, I feel like Base kind of min-maxing his speed there, and he knew that Maxter was on the other side of the map, so, you know, threw that out. I like it. You know, makes a lot of sense, these little decisions that is making. Now, he's been hitting some nice rails, but I'm kind of curious to see what he wants to do to try to bring this one back. It's going to start with that Heavy, and he is going to grab it. Nice rocket coming out as Maxter barrels into the room. And now Base with a little bit of the stack advantage, having much more armor than his opponent. 5 minutes through this one, Lethal, and we've already seen a lot of action here. Every player showing their cards and bringing it all. Maxter still in the lead by 2, and now Base controlling that middle area. LG does come out. Orb was popped? Yes, it was, to get up there. But Base is actually just going to disengage, go over, and grab that Heavy yet again.
With it if he can. Misses that first rail. Some of his rails are so important, but Max is definitely not missing his. Good LG from Base to try and recover, but Maxter needs to be so careful. He's literally on the brink of death, manages to get away, and Base is just going to comfortably wait for this next Mega. Still got 4 minutes left on the clock. You know what it's like on Deep Embrace. It can definitely go full circle, turns the scoreline. Maxter knows he's there. He's left the Heavy just to see if he can at least do some damage to Base, which he has done. Definitely made him work for that Mega. And Max is backed away to go for that Heavy. So still tit for tat here. Still got 3.5 minutes left, and Base still trailing behind, trying to find that next frag.
Yeah, both of our major items just separated by about 4 or 5 seconds. Not quite apart, but that has been growing throughout this matchup. Heavy and Mega about to spawn here in the next few seconds. Players swap positions here, giving Base the Mega side. He's just going to wait. I like this. Set it up. Although he got hit with that rail, he's going to berserk on out of there. And Maxter with a huge vertical rail, aiming straight down and getting his 6th frag versus Base. And that is going to set him up nicely. Base runs over, gets that rail gun, and wow, Maxter with the double rocket, finishing up with the LG. He's now up by 4.
So difficult to rail someone when they pop that Berserk, and he hit 3 for 3 still, even around that Mega. Just phenomenal stuff from Maxter. Just keeping Base at bay no matter what situation he's in, no matter what circumstance he's in. 2.5 minutes left. Base needs to make something happen. He's not normally the one who trails behind. Good rail there from Maxter. Definitely not looking good now. 5 frags behind. Picks up the Heavy. Absolutely massively stacked here. Base, you know, trying to dilly-dally around that telly to see if it can catch Maxter off guard. Not sure if it's going to happen. Gets affected by that first rail, but good rockets from Maxter. Just barely misses that last one. Pops the Berserk, but not going to happen. It's going to be a little bit of a waste. Base needs to get away if he can, which he does, but how long forward? Picks up the light. It's going to drop down the murder hole. And look at that. Maxter waiting for him with the LG and rockets and takes him down.
That's a rough place for Base to be now with, 6 frags separating these two. Less than 2 minutes left to go. Very difficult thing to try to do. Players exchange spots as the Dire Orb does come out. A nice rail comes out by Base, and he needs that frag to try to mount something here. It's going to be very difficult to put something together in 90 seconds. Possible. Could be. Base has the arsenal. He does manage to land some damage on Maxter, but Maxter's LG kind of equalizes things. And as you know, you do have to get aggressive. You have to try to get those frags, but he's going to try to do it as smart as he possibly can.
And trying to get a clean frag against Maxter is highly unlikely. He always does some kind of damage one way or another and then trades out straight afterwards. Berserk versus the Gauntlet. Sadly for Maxter, Base is the one who actually takes him down. A minute left, needs 4 more frags. Doable, but let's be honest, it's highly unlikely. And especially now Max has got the rockets. He's already got a huge stack. This is basically Max's game here, and Base needs to think about what he needs to do in these next couple maps.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about the next map, Awoken, still a pretty small map. Some architecture that allows you to, I think, be a little bit more sneaky, to be able to play it a little bit slower, but still typically generates some action. So not surprising to see Maxter take this one. Base started off pretty nice, but unfortunately is not going to be able to bring it back, as we see Maxter holding on to the spawn for as long as he can, and with less than 10 minutes to go, Base going to deal some nice damage, might even get a frag, but it won't matter because the first map is indeed going to go to Maxter. A 9-7 score.
And it was very close to start with, but Maxter just looking so good at the moment. He's continuing on from the momentum he had earlier. You know, a lot of these players, when they drop into the loser bracket, they really struggled to reset their mentality. That's kind of how I felt with Kilson. He was really fed up. He was very annoyed that he lost his winners bracket game when he played against Zanaku, and he wasn't really, feeling himself. And a lot of players can be like that, but Maxter has obviously seen how well we did against Rafa earlier on in that best of 3, which was so close. And now he's thinking to himself, well, do you know what? Let's continue on. Let's try and bring that Cinderella story back. And you saw at the start, Base was given like so many great opportunities to get some of those frags against Maxter, but Maxter just turned it on his head straight away. And every time Base tried to stabilize and just calm things down a bit, Maxter was like, nah, I'm not gonna calm things down at all. He wants to keep it chaotic so that Base doesn't have that chance to stabilize.
Yeah, I mean, although Base started off pretty nice, Maxter able to hold on. And you said something really interesting to me, Lethal. Like, I would imagine being in Maxter's shoes, you take out Cooler, you take out Kilson, you have a really incredible game versus Rafa. I mean, that's got to do something to make you feel pretty good and pretty confident. Not saying like, great, I'm just gonna like throw caution to the wind and just play however I've been playing, but it does give you a little bit of extra energy, a little bit of extra I don't even know what to say, like on map gravitas. I don't know, but to your point too, I wonder how that affects Base. Base is looking, it's like, man, Maxter is having some really incredible games. This is a little bit different from what I see or expect out of him, and that could quite possibly have an effect. But you have to reset, you have to get ready for the next map. The thing about it is that Awoken, I still, especially the Strog versus Sorlag, I know a lot of people really love Strog on Awoken with the Peaker, but I really kind of feel like this is Maxter's game to potentially take away 2-0, and that would just be another incredible notch in Maxter's belt over the Stage 2 finals.
That's right, indeed. You saw there 836 more damage. That's huge for Deep Embrace. Normally it's very back and forth. You don't really see too much damage difference in comparison. And even then, Base did have a better rail. Like, in terms of accuracy and everything he was doing, just Maxter just looked a bit more shiny and a bit of flair in comparison. Like, he was hitting from angles which, most of the time he shouldn't have done, but he got away with it anyway. And Base, positionally he was doing very well. That's just based on experience, but Max has just turned it on its head every single time. And the only thing I'm worried about is the fact that with Awoken, don't get me wrong, it's Base's pick, but Max is also very good on this map. So Base is probably contemplating what he could be doing next.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the way that Maxter has been playing, and don't get me wrong, like, Base has certainly been bringing his game. Feel like we're seeing Maxter plus in this particular tournament. And on a map like Awoken, yeah, I think he is just as deadly. Now the question becomes, can Maxter close this out in 2? Is this a possibility? Or is Base going to be able to slow things down, start playing this game at his tempo, and essentially put up that brick wall, forcing this to a third game, that being Vale, and we will hold off our comments for that one as we're going to focus our attention now on Awoken. Strog versus Sorlag here. Maxter's on the Sorlag, and Base is on the Strog. We are in map waiting for the warm-up timer to count down and the game to officially begin. Just want to give a big shout out to everyone who's joined us throughout the day. I know many of you got up early or in the afternoon or into the evening in some countries around the world. We thank you for being here. We thank you for enjoying Quake and supporting your favorite players, and we are officially in the game. So Lethal, take us away.
So good first map from Maxter. Let's see if he can continue on and maybe even 2-0 Base. I feel like he has to, because Vale is very difficult. It can be a momentum killer in terms of that map, but we'll have to see, as we even reached that far. Maxter got the slight stack advantage. We've seen a lot of saw lag on Awoken so far during the Stage 2 finals. Good first rail there from base. Was looking for the second, but the tri-bolt, the amount of damage he took in the LG from Maxter, he's looking to push straight away. He's not really thinking about flanking or, you know, doing something unorthodox, just straight up trying to get rounds, but sadly it just didn't happen. Base, good first rail. Pika didn't really do too much, but it was a nice effort anyway. Another good rail from Base. Another one straight afterwards. You saw there, but again and again, he's just waiting for Maxter to make that first mistake. He came at him and literally lost his life straight afterwards. So that's a good start from Base.
Yeah, I mean, good read by Maxter, kind of doubling back to the railgun, picking that up, and then going back out. But Base with almost an even better read and waiting there, reacting appropriately at getting that first frag. Now, Maxter is going to find himself that heavy. And now Base landing another great rail. Maxter not quite in the danger zone yet. But through that teleporter, the LG comes out and Base gets an easy frag against Maxter. Not much he can do despite throwing down that spit. Does a little bit of damage, but it's not really going to do all that much as things equalize a bit. But that doesn't stop Base from that solid 2-0 lead to kick things off. And if you know Base, you know that he loves to be playing from the lead position.
Definitely 100%. I saw Chain play Awoken earlier. He was doing so well, keeping a defensive stance against Cypher of the Tri-Bolt and the Rockets. Base doing exactly the same thing, but he's got so much confidence with his rail that he relies on that instead. And speaking of rails, Maxter manages to get one of his own. Both players are trying to retaliate to each other and trying to get some kind of advantage in terms of damage. But Maxter looking very good here, but sadly for him, he doesn't get to the heavy in time, but still has that massive stack. 2-0 in favour of Base. It's only been nearly 2.5 minutes, still plenty of time for Maxter to make something happen, but these defensive rails from Base, he's trying to do whatever he can in order to just be an absolute nuisance, and you can see Max is just trying to, you know, chase him down in whichever way he can, but Base always holding these positions, holding these angles, but Max is still just winning the fight every single time. 9 HP, really meant to clean them up, he misses the rail, he just cleans up with the LG, yes he does. That shotgun almost cleaned his face off, but lucky for him, he just manages to survive.
I mean, that was super ballsy coming out there by Base, but he knew he dished out a lot of damage, and then off the frag or off the spawn, he was able to go ahead and pick up that frag. So while Maxter does get on the board, Base keeps his lead. Nicely done, good decisions made there. And I'm actually shocked at how much damage he did, considering how low his life actually was. Spitz comes out, try to protect the heavy in this pit, and it is indeed going to go to Maxter, using that ability to kind of take control. And then a beautiful, beautiful jump to the top, picks himself up the Mega, and gets the frag, and we've got ourselves a 1 frag game.
This is the version of Base we kind of wanted and expected, and finally we got it. Looks like his defensive rails have made such a huge impact. And what we've seen, that Pika is literally just following into the ends of the earth.
There was a lot of frequent flyer miles for that one right there.
And there we have it though. Base still manages to take him down, picks up the Mega. To be looking to see where he'll be going. You saw there Max is just going straight up to top mid. Oh, just barely misses that rocket, but he needs to try and get a rail if he can, because, you know, Base is just going to be waiting with that positional advantage. Realising that he's actually on top of that rail. Gone 2 for 2. He's going to go for the third. Will he get 4 for 4? Oh, he just barely misses. And Base is on 2 HP, but it doesn't matter. Maxter still manages to clean up. Only 1 frag behind as he's going to pick up the Mega. May contest the heavy depending on the circumstances, but it looks like he knows at least where Base is going to be hiding.
I always got to appreciate it when pros know they hit those rails that have their opponents in single digits, but then they keep firing rails anyway, and then finally he's like, all right, I'll use the shotgun. And gets his 3rd frag. There it is, the rail to end it and tie it up here, and suddenly Maxter now has a chance to equalize things a bit. LG coming out from Base to kind of negate some of that stack that was being held onto, and now we are halfway through this game, and 4-4, that's basically a wash. It's like starting over yet again, but LG battle at the heavy, and Base does win that one and wins it pretty clean. He is lacking armor, but he'll pick up a light there. And Maxter now down a frag, looking to bring it back. Barrels right into his opponent's spit, does come out. Both players very, very low, and we are going to have a trade. Look at that Peeker getting the kill, as well as the Acid. Now the scoreline 6-5.
Yeah, the tracking aim of base is looking much better in comparison, but then again, Max's rails have just been on par. Some of the shots he's hitting, it's been ridiculous. Maxter now a little bit of a height disadvantage. He was in a really bad spot. They got out of it as soon as he could. Just waiting for the next rotations of the light, but Base knows that. He wants to try and get away if he can. Base not mucking around here. He saw his opportunity and took it straight away. And you know, I spoke earlier in the pregame where sometimes Base will pick up the pace, and he really has done. Increased the speed and the tempo, but Maxter likes to play like that. So I don't think he actually expected Base to, you know, increase it this much. Again, taking so many rails. Oh, it was railable then. On that bottom nail area, but sadly missed that last shot. Some of these important rails are so important, which he needs to try and hit, but he's hitting the harder ones more than the easy ones, so we'll have to see what he can do in the next few moments.
I mean, that was a critical frag to number 7 for Base. Being tied up with Maxter, tournament life on the line, you want to be staying ahead. And, you know, Base is going to be looking to use those plus back skills if need be. If he gets himself another frag, stacks up maybe even 3, I would expect to see him really go hard into that style of play. And there's one. So let's see, is he going to keep that pressure on? He's going to back up a little bit. Still a lot of time left, and you got to be careful not to start doing that mode too early, and he is not. In fact, he is staying relentless and might be in this mode for the remainder of the game. Up by 3, gonna force Maxter to start to turn that pressure on, maybe even making a few mistakes, seeing if Base can find additional frags off of that.
Yeah, Base is starting to learn Max's rotations now, so he's a lot more prepared to hold some of his angles with his rockets and his rails. It's not looking too good for Maxter. Base has got a huge stack, which Maxter has to try and contend with.
Nice.
These rails are just absolutely blowing my mind right now. Compared to what we saw in the first game, it's literally night and day. Base still got a huge stack. Got 2 minutes and 20 left on the clock. Maxter still needs to find another 4 frags, but it's looking very unlikely. We need a slight miracle from Max if he wants to try and make something happen, as now Base further increases his lead.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Rails have certainly been a supporting cast member here, but the LG of Base, he's sitting at 1,700 damage, 47% accuracy, compared to the 500 damage of Maxter. So while Maxter has been trying to go toe-and-toe with those Rails, it's really the LG that...
Oh,
wow. My God! Under the bridge and in the air, Base with a huge Peeker kill, 13-6. And you could say, all right, you can throw some Peeker. You give him a supporting cast award there as well. But Base's LG just is unanswered by Maxter.
That underarm Peeker was just ridiculous. I don't think it was actually going to take him out like that, but I don't think Maxter knew either. But yeah, it's all said and done now. 13-6 in favor of Base. He's been looking so good. Even though his accuracy has not been the best for the rail, when he needs to hit them, he hits them well and hits them perfectly when required. Sometimes there's been some rails where you miss, it's fine, but when there's those certain rails where you need to keep the opponent back because he's got a huge stack, or, you know, he's playing way too aggressive, that's where Base has been hitting them perfectly. And his positional game has just been so good. And even now, like, you know, he's just trying to be as much of a pain in the backside as possible, even though the damage is already being done. But Maxter, I think the only difference between this game and the last one, it was a bit more predictable. I'm just a little bit worried about this next map, which I think is on Veil, and it's another map which Base is really good on, and it is a real momentum killer depending on, oh my God, that tri-bolt.
I mean, this is, you know, this is a great display here by Base, and again, really talking about the lightning gun. I mean, the damage line, 4,600 for Base and 35 for Maxter. Most of that is in LG damage. And, you know, the thing about it is that there were so many times where Maxter was instantly chewed through 50 to 70 armor, or 50 to 70 health, really not giving him any advantage in a fight or really any ground in which to stand on. So understandable that Base was able to take that one quite handily, controlled well, and it is kind of surprising to think that at one point we were tied. It was at 6-6 at which point Base just stole away every single frag after that.
Yeah, base 1022 more damage comparison to maxter, 22 items controlled. And you saw that, I think that was, I had to double check that. I think I need to put my glasses on. And literally 2200 LG damage. That's ridiculous. And, you know, I can expect that from maybe a rail if it's quite a rail heavy game. But yeah, 2200 with the LG is ridiculous to say the least.
I mean, when you're playing that rail game, you open and your opponent's like, all right, I need to match this rail game, right? There's no real denial of the rail that was happening there from Base. But then I think, again, the turning point was that Base was just getting so much free damage with that LG. Here's another example right there. A lot of unanswered damage, not particularly here, but there was that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful peeker kill right there under the bridge and directly into the face of his opponent. But more importantly, we're going to a map 3, and this is kind of what we expect here in the lower bracket. Vale is going to be the arena. Base is going to be on the Ison, and DK will be Maxter's champion of choice. So, you know, we've seen DK come out strong since this last patch, especially here on Vale. Any thoughts about this?
The Eisen, it's very, very difficult to try and work around that champion just overall, like especially if he has the turret set up on top mega and then, you know, trying to hang around the top tribal area to contest the heavy. It's very, very difficult. You can kind of get an essence of what Base's game plan is going to be, like especially if he gets that first frag. Maxter can't allow that. If he allows it, then it's going to be very, very difficult. Don't get me wrong, Death Knight is a very good champion. So other champions like Galena, for example, which can be very good because of the fact that it keeps you on your toes. But Death Knight, I don't think it's a bad choice at all. It's definitely something which he can do. There's a lot of, you know, nick and crannies and a lot of narrow corridors which can use that Death Knight for to, you know, use the flame strike to keep him away from certain items, or maybe just cover one of Base's options in order to try and progress to the items. So it's going to be very, very difficult, but if he does give Base that first frag, he can get full setup for top mega and have the turret up there, and there's so many instances which, you know, it's going to eliminate a lot of options for Maxter, and that's what I'm a little bit worried about, because that can kill your momentum, and with the Eisen as well, it just makes things just a little bit worse, but we'll see.
Yeah, this was also the map in which we saw Maxter really, you know, bring it close to the wire with Rafa. Rafa did pull it out, but Maxter put on one hell of a display here. And I agree with what you said about Base. I think these opening minutes incredibly important, but even more so the fact that the winner moves on and the loser, unfortunately, is eliminated from the stage 2 finals. So get your cheers out in chat. Show your support for who you want to win, because this game is live.
Here you go, then. Let's try and see what Base's game plan is. The turret's already done its duty. It would have done a fair bit of damage. But Base just biding his time. And the only problem for Max is the fact that he's forced to play like this, which is it's not something he wants to do. But it looks like he's going to walk through into the telly. He knows the turret won't be up there for at least another 10-15 seconds, depending on how many hourglasses Base has picked up. But he has picked up the heavy. The mega is still up, and I think Maxter wasn't really too sure if he was hiding up there or not. And this is the problem. You don't really know where Base is going to be. He could be literally anywhere. He's a very, very cautious player, but kind of like the silent assassin sometimes. It's just very difficult to read what Base could be doing, especially on a map like this. But Maxter has backed away. He's just waiting on that jump pad to see if Base is up there, but Base is just ready with the tri-bolt and the rail to see if he's there. Oh, he's gone straight up, uses the flame strike, done a fair bit of damage there, but Base has missed that rail, hit the rail, but Maxter is the one who cleans him up nicely, takes down the turret, picks up the heavy, and now he's got time to go for the mega if he can, but no, Base is already there, but Base has actually dropped down. He could actually stop him from going for the mega here, depends how desperate Base is for it. He's so close to taking him down from that last rail, but Base has picked up the mega. He can surely get a second frag. Yes, he does. Maxter looking very, very good, but can Base trade off? I don't think he's got the time.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And a risky move there by Maxter, but it does pay off, and that puts him with that 2-frag lead here early on in this matchup. Like the control that we've seen so far, not sure that Base should have engaged in, in that fight when we saw the flames come down the hallway, but he was pretty confident in himself, and maxter remained confident as well. He has the better stack right now. 2 frags in the lead. We still have a lot of time left in this game, and both players pretty much full arsenal of weapons right now. Base does take quite a bit of damage there. maxter now on the chase. There's the rail around the corner, and that is frag number 3 for maxter.
And I love this for maxter as well. He's reading base like a book. He knows that even if he's got a huge stack, just be calm, be patient, just walk around everywhere. If you catch him close range, that's it. He's stuffed. There's nothing he can do. And he's doing that perfectly. And look now, he's suffocated him down below in that LG stairs. And he knows that at some point, if he pushes him, that's it. Again, there's nothing he can do. And base now realizes that now that he's playing his game, but slightly better, what more can he do? Good flame strike there just to keep him at bay. Nice LG damage. He's trying to go for the heavy. Yes, he gets it. And the Mega's up in the next 8 seconds. He can definitely go for this if he wants to, but maxter doesn't want to give away too much damage. Good first rail. Is he going to go for the second? No, he doesn't. Uses the LG just in case, just to play it safe. Trying to hit that next rail. Oh, he's left on 3 HP. He's going to pretend to back away, but there's no healing items around at all. And even then, maxter 3 HP still needs to do something about this. Hits the first rail. Will he hit the second? Oh no, base. Pixel peeks around from that rocket area. And now base is looking to see where he's going to go. maxter picks up the heavy, but base does have that stack disadvantage. But what's he going to do? Is he going to set up here with the turret? Yes, he will do, but he's still got another one in his back pocket.
Yeah, Mega about to spawn too, and I think base getting that frag was good, but with maxter off that spawn, I think base knew he wasn't really going to get an opportunity to convert at all through the teleporter. Base goes, and maxter does see that, but he is hesitant to go through there. There's a turret up at the top. Heavy is up. And I think base is going to get this super clean. There he is with the rocket jump upstairs. Get ready for that mega. And he knows his opponent's around here somewhere. Just can't seem to get a lock on him. There, a rail as he jumps across to that mega. maxter not or feeling very comfortable kind of fighting from that downward position. And we are a minute away from being halfway through this matchup. Things have slowed down just a little bit, but because both players realize the opportunity, and through the teleporter, Timmy gets a frag as well. Base now only 1 frag away from tying this one up.
Base has full setup. It's just a question on how maxter's going to retaliate. Good first rail there. He's still got that turret when he needs to use it when he sees fit. All base needs to do now is just learn maxter's rotations, but at the moment he doesn't need to. maxter's just peeking left, right and center quite early on, and now he's given away a couple of frags. Yeah, sure, he's done some good damage, but sadly for him it just wasn't enough, as he has taken down the turret finally over on that top mega side. Base has picked up the heavy, that huge stack, so now he's got to watch exactly what he wants to do here. It's very difficult to try and say what maxter needs to do here. He's doing well with the chip damage, just pushing in a little bit too early and maybe underestimating what base could be up to.
Yeah, and I mean, on a tied score, we saw maxter really prioritize his weapons there. You know, he needs that rail, needs to have a rocket, LG, etc. Base, though, coming out strong with that LG and really using the overall control that he's picked up. Great use of the flames there to stop that aggressive attack from base. Base does fall down, but still dished a ton of damage despite flames hitting. Now it's an LG on LG battle, switching to the rail. Base lands his 5th frag, and he is starting to run away with this a little bit. He was fighting from behind since that first frag, but he's really brought it back in his favor. Ooh.
That was very close indeed. Turret's done a little bit of extra damage. But maxter now, he's the one with a better stack. It's just a matter of how he's going to use it and how clean would the frag be so he can stop him from going for the next set of rockets on spawn. It's a big question really, but he's picked up the mega. He knows the heavy's come up in the next 15 seconds. Base is just playing it safe, waiting for the next rotation of lights, which is perfectly understandable. But maxter does hear him out. He knows that if he just catches him at any opportunity close range, he should be able to take him down. This is the first rail, well, both players do really, shall we say. We'll put the next turret down top mid. and now he's got to decide what he wants to do. He's just waiting for maxter to come to him first. Good tri-bolt shots, a huge amount of damage there. Flame Strike didn't do too much. He managed to finally catch him though, as Base is still just waiting for him to push up. But maxter could drop on him if he wants to, and yes, he does with the LG. He's taking a little bit damage from the rockets, but it's not enough for him to stop him or keep him at bay, as maxter is the one who comes out on top in that engagement, and now it's only one frag behind.
Great patience there from maxter, and bringing us to just one frag separating these two. But the clock is ticking away. I would thought we were actually earlier, and I look up and we're at 7:20. And we're gonna have a rail war. Oh,
no!
Hit off.
No!
Missed the, oh my God, missed the mega, and then is fragged midair to tie the game up 5-5. And what looked like an increasing lead for Base. Maxter playing it cool, keeping on his own game, his own strategy, managing to tie this one back up.
Base is going to be worried now because he's just playing the exact same game. Yeah, sure, Base can walk around and try and find a way to get behind him or flank him, but Max is doing the exact same thing but with a bigger stack. So technically Maxter, if he gets first shot, should come out on top on this next engagement. Picks up the mega. Both items are heavily segregated, so Maxter can definitely take Base down if he can. Good first rail. How he's going to challenge the next one. He's going to go for the flank from below, but Base has already gone up on top on that heavy machine gun. So decided to play it extra safe there, which is perfectly fine for Maxter. The damage has been done. Misses that rocket jump, which is still fine because he's actually accidentally going to go towards the right way. He doesn't at least go down to the LG anyway, but it doesn't matter. He's got high advantage, he's got the stack. It's just a matter of how he wants to force this next engagement out.
Yeah, Base has got to be a little worried that he has no control over major items right now. We're heading into that final minute and tied up. That is certainly advantageous for Maxter. Throwing out the flames, seeing if he gets some damage off. Ready for the LG. The heavy is there, and I feel like Base feels like he needs to grab it. Huge grab. A rail does come out, but another rocket hits, and Base is incredibly low. Here's the setup. 1 minute left to go, and Base is going to get back on there. Mega health picked up by Maxter, but coming through the side. Great rail coming out by Maxter. Fires the rocket. That one happens to miss, but the LG to secure the 6th frag and possibly the winning frag here in the 3rd and final map with 45 seconds left to go.
Maxter needs to keep the pressure on. This is the same mistake he made against Rafa, just due to experience. So long as he keeps the pressure on, or at least get some of his lights to go back to his default stack, he should be okay, but it could be too little too late. The mega is still available though. Base is in a much better position to try and go for it, which he will do. He wants the biggest stack possible for this next fight, because we know that if Base actually wins this next engagement, then he's going to really struggle afterwards, but he's going to get away from that flame strike. Maxter misses the rail. Base still has that stack, as the turret's done a tickle of damage as he went through. 10 seconds left. Will Base be able to find him, as Maxter is actually still available? He's baiting out the doors. He's going to flank round. He's going to go the right way. He's seen exactly where he is. 1 second left, and he's just been taken down, and it's gone to sudden death.
Oh my God, what a way to end this series. In literally the last second lethal, he goes down. The turret helped in that. He did grab the heavy, but it didn't matter. The LG base was too good. Maxter narrowly missing a rail there, has no armor stack at all. We'll pick up that light. We're 19 seconds in right now, and the next frag is going to determine who moves on and who will be going home. Turret comes out. It's immediately dropped. We do have a flames out, and it goes up. The heavy was there, but it was left behind. Base goes for it. The LG comes out from Maxter. Oh my God, no way! No way! The flames ticking down Base. Unbelievable. 7-6. What a game. Maxter takes it 2